All right, so today we are factoring trinomials. A trinomial has three terms. So in this case, 1, 2, 3 terms. And when you multiply, the only way to get three terms, from something that's factored, is you're going to have two binomials. So basically, in the end, we're going to have two binomials as our answer. Now, you may have learned another process, and the process is fantastic. And if you remember it and you want to do it, be my guest. This process winds up being, in the beginning, a little bit more brain taxing, but in the end, so much faster than the other method. So it's really up to you. This method might freak you guys out because it's called the guess and check method. So when we guess and check, you're going to have to erase stuff. Okay? That's just the way it is. You're going to guess, see if your guess is right by checking. And if it is, you're done. If it's not, you're going to have to guess again. That's the fun part, in my opinion, but I guess maybe my opinion might not be everyone else's. So when I guess, I'm going to unmultiply. So I'm going to use my tabular method to unmultiply. So whenever you multiply two binomials together, you have put one here and here, one term here, that of the binomial, and then the other binomial goes on this side, this times this. And when you multiply, you know that every time you multiplied, when it was in this order, you multiplied this one times this one, and you got n squared. That's the answer. So remember, we're unmultiplying. So we're putting the answers in, and we're going to work our way to get the question. It's like Jeopardy. And when you multiply these two together, these two outside ones, the last ones, you're going to get this one, 54. That's how that worked, positive 54. The problem is where the check comes in is these two, when you add these two together, you're going to get negative 15. But there's a million different ways to get negative 15. Maybe not a million, but there's a lot of different ways you can get negative 15. But that's where our check's going to come in. So we're going to guess some numbers. Sorry, I had to edit there. We're going to guess some numbers, and then we're going to check our answers. And then if they don't work, we're going to try other ones. It's super fun. You'll see. Okay, so n squared. The only way we can get n squared right now is n times n. So that's fancy. Now, to get numbers here, we need to strategically pick them. So we need to pick a couple answers that when you multiply them together give you 54, and when you add them together are going to give you negative 15. So you can, of course, list your factors out here. So 54 is 1 and 54, 2 and 27, 3, nope, 4, no, 5, no, 6 and 9. Nope, that's it. So those are it. Those are our factors. We'll go over a way to get the factors in class just so that, you don't have to go, what? No? 2? No? Just like I did. Because, it's weird. Okay, so we have two numbers. We need them to add up to negative 15. So since we have 1 and 54, 2 and 27, you could also have negative 1 and negative, you could have all negatives. And because of this, these two multiplied together give me negative 15. So what I'm going to do is pick one of these and put it here, and one of these and put it here, and say, okay, negative 6 times negative 9 is a positive 54. Nice. And when I multiply negative 6 times n, I get negative 6n. This is my check. I am checking. And I do negative 9 times n, I get negative 9n. And when I add them together, it's negative 15. So I get negative 15 as the sum, and the binomials are right here. So the answer is, the factor is n minus 6. So I take the binomial at the top, and n minus 9. I take that binomial at the bottom. So this one went here. This is very messy. The first time I do this is always so messy and everyone freaks out, but it's okay. So again, I'm teaching these with kind of simple examples, and I know you know the AM method and it's going to be easy, but I want to teach it to you with the guess and check so that when you get to a question like number 3 here, you're freaked out, okay? And we can just figure it out from there. So let's do this quick, shall we? So we want 2 binomials that multiply to this. So let's do it. This is the setup, and we'll give you a quick shortcut as you get good at this so that you don't have to write this box every time. So you know that r squared is going to go here. You know 49 is going to go here. I always put the sign just to be sure. These two added together has to be 14r. So I just put that down there to keep myself on track. So my guess is 2 things multiply to r squared. It's r and r. 2 things multiply to 49 and add to 14. Well, it's got to be 7 and 7. Okay, so let's check it out. Here's the check. Multiply, multiply. 7 times 7 is 49. 7 plus 7 is 14, positive 14. So that's our answer. It's r plus 7, r plus 7. And be aware that we can write it like so. All right. Now we get one like this. And we start to have a mental breakdown. No, just kidding. We really don't. So we have to have 2 binomials that multiply to this. So how is this one different than the last one? Well, this is 5r squared. That's the difference. It's like Sesame Street. Which one of these is not like the other? But it's still done the same way. So 5r squared goes here because the first 2 multiplied together have to give you this one. And the second 2 multiplied together have to give you that one. So that's that. So now we just have to do our guess. So our guess is, what 2 things multiply to give me 5r squared? Well, I'm going to go with 5r and r. Okay, and r has to be in both spots or it's just not going to add up to the 3r. So it has to be, the numbers are the ones that you have to play with. So then we have -8. 2 things have to multiply to -8. So things when we're multiplying to a negative, one of them has to be negative. So we just have to be aware of that. So it's 1 times 8 is not a -8. But -1 times 8 is, right? Or 1 times -8. So these are the factors that I'm writing. So pairs of things that multiply to -8. But you can also have -2 and 4 or +2 and -4. So those are that's it. So I need, well, if you look at those, you see that they're not multiplying or they're not adding to -3r because this 5r is playing a point. This is a problem. So what we do, the rule of thumb, is we take 2 numbers that are closest together. So I take 2 numbers that are closest together. So it's either this one or this one. Now, to make this a little easier, I tend to not put the signs on right away. Okay, you can if it makes you a bit more comfortable, but I like to do this without the signs right now. So I'm just going to take the 2 and the 4 and put it there. Okay, so now this is the check piece. So the check is I do the multiplication. So I'm going to do r times 2, which is 2r, and 5r times 4, which is 20r. Now just looking at that, do you think I could put any signs on these, whatever, so that it would ever add up to 3r? No. So that guess was incorrect. So let's switch it up. So I'm going to switch it up the other way. So that was my guess. My check didn't work. So now I'm going to take my 4 and put it up here, and my 2 will put it down there. So this is it. As you get better, it tends to get a little bit easier. And then what is this, 10r? So if I add these 2 together, does that equal 3r? Nope. 10 and 4 can never add to 3. All right, so those 2 didn't work. So now I'm going to go to the 1 and the 8. So I'm going to try 1 and 8. I should pick it strategically so that it works this time so we don't have to go through this again. So 5r times 1 is 5r, and r times 8 is 8r. Now look at these. If 3r, their difference is 3. So if I make the bigger one 8 negative, these two are going to add to a negative 3r. So this takes practice. I realize me explaining it in a video isn't as fantastic as we'd like it to be, but it's really a lot of fun. Sorry, me saying that is just hilarious. Okay, so 8 times 1 is negative 8. There's that check. 8 times 1 is negative 8. We add this, we 8r, 5r. They add to 3r. Bam, done. Awesome. Let's put the answer up there. So r plus 1. So remember, this side is one of them. This side is the other. Doesn't matter which order you put it in. All right, let's try it again with number 4. Let's try it a little quicker. So sometimes when I do it faster, you see it better. So let's see how it goes. All right, so 7r squared. So 7r, r. That's what I need to get 7r squared. 12. So again, I'm not going to deal with the positive or negative. We're just going to think about 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. So again, rule of thumb, pick the two numbers that are closest together. Okay, so I'm going to put, let's say, a 3 here and a 4 here, and see how that works. So again, I'm just throwing the 3 and the 4 wherever, and if it works, awesome. So 3 times 4 is 12. I should have put that there to begin with. So remember, this has to be a positive 12 in the end. So 3 times r is 3r. 7 times 4 is 28, r. So 3 times 4 works that this is 12. Do these two add up to a negative 31r? They do not. They add up to a positive 31r, but we can fix that quite easily by making them both negative, right? So if I make this negative 3r negative, that means this 3 had to have been negative, because we don't make these negative, so it's always the second term. So this 28 makes this one negative. Last check that you have to do, so these definitely add up to a negative 31r. But do they multiply to a positive 12? Negative 4, negative 3, positive 12, they do. That's my answer. I picked it first try. That's always nice. As you do more of these and as you actually put effort into this for 10 minutes or so, it tends to make it a lot easier. All right, so this problem has a bit of a glitch in it also, where when we're multiplying these two together, we have to get 4a squared. So the deal with that is it could be 2a times 2a. It could be 4a times 1. So rule of thumb is try the 2a's first. Try the two numbers that are closest together. So we'll try 2a, and 3, and 7. So when I do this, I do get 4a squared. I get 21, not negative yet, but hopefully soon. This is 14a, and this is 6a. So looking here and here, will that ever add to negative 5a? I don't think, no matter what I put negatives on, I don't see that happening. So since 2a and 2a are exactly the same, switching the order of the 7 and the 3 isn't going to make much of a difference. So what I have to do is I have to switch the 2a here. I have to try 4a and 1a, or just a. So when I do that, we're going to put a 7 and a 1. A 7 and a 3 for a 21. So let's try 7 and a 3. See it that way. So 7a, and this is 12a. So will these ever add up to a negative 5? Sure, they could add up to a negative 5 if the 12 was negative. So if this 12 is negative, that means the 3 was negative. If the 7 is positive, that seems good. So these two added together does give me negative 5. Last check, though, is negative 3 times 7, negative 21. It is. So we have our answer. A minus 3, 4a plus 7. I think I picked too many questions here. So let me just do this one real quick. Oh, anytime I say real quick, it's the opposite that happens. So the answer here is going to be parentheses. So we have this one has a lot of involved. So this is kind of the full lesson, everything put together. So we have 6x squared, which could be 6x and x, or it could be 3x and 2x. The 4 could be 4x. I mean, sorry, not 4x. Could be just 4 and 1, but it also could be 2 and 2. So generally we say take the ones that are closest together and see how those work. So let's give that a try. 3x and 2x, and then that would be 6x squared, and let's do 2 and 2. That's 4. So when we do this check, we get 4x and 6x. So that's not right. So 4x and 6x don't work. So let's try, because they have to add up to negative 11. I'm trying to go fast, so we're just going to listen to me do it in my brain. So let's try 4 and 1. Remember, these don't change because we've picked these numbers strategically. So this is 8x, and this is 3x. These add up to 11. Oh, that's a good thought. Okay, so since those add up to 11, we need them to add up to negative 11. So that means they both need to be negative. So if they're both negative, we will still get a positive 4. So negative 8x and negative 3x give me a negative 11x. That's my check. Okay, there's my answer. So it's 2x minus 1 and 3x minus 4. Sorry it was a little long, but have a good day.